day near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not 24 hours as we think of, but the Quran says that the Qiyamah is 50,000 years or more. And as a matter of fact, when we look at the verses of the Quran where it says that it is Yawm al-Qiyamah, it's a day of judgment, and at present till the day of judgment takes place is nothing but night. So from the time of the khilqat of Adam, when Adam was created, till the day of judgment that will take place, it's nothing but night. So all of these years that has passed by from Adam till up till now it's night. But the day will happen on the day of judgment. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. So it's still, everything is night, but the day of judgment will happen. So therefore, when it comes to the 6 days, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about that He has created the heaven and earth, and whatsoever is within heaven and earth, is like 6 days, is actually the day from that point of view. It could be not a day of 24 hours. Now Allah created this all, He set up all of this heaven and earth and whatsoever it exists for insan, and He has given that karama, He has honored insan through all of this. لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَاهُ بَنِي آدَمَ. And He has created this for Adam, and He has taught him the names, as we also recite, that Allah taught Adam the names. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ أَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. He taught the names of everything. Because the angels, when Adam was created, was complaining that you are creating someone who would create corruption on earth. Perhaps, as some of the exegetes point out to that, similar forms existed before Hazrat Adam who looked like human beings, and they were basically murdering each other. They were known as the Nisnas. And when the angels saw the Adam alayhi salam being created, they said that, oh, you have created someone who will basically corrupt the earth. Then Allah says that, I know what you not know, and Allah taught Adam alayhi salam the names. And names are like when you know a name of something which gives you the power to rule over it. You have a name, a name of something that is pointing out, which is an indication that you have power over that thing. If a person knows the name of a thing, it means that he knows the inside out of a thing, that he can control that thing. Anyway, so it was Hazrat Adam. Now, when we look at the creation of man, from a philosophical point of view and also from a religious point of view, just compare a bit here. From a religious point of view, you have 3 different levels of khilqat Adam. One is the khilqat, or his creation before he came to this world, which the Quran talks about alam al-dhar, a realm or a level or a place where before we came to this world, we dwell in that world, the realm of spirits, where it is known as, in which Allah asked about the Ad and Mithaq. Hal Rabbuk, who is your Lord? And we say, Qalu Bala. You are our Lord in that realm, in that spiritual world. That's one level of creation. Now, after that is this world, in this dunya. When we come into this dunya, man before creation, man in this creation, while he is living in this dunya as Khalifatullah, as a representative of God, as he is born as a Muslim or a not Muslim or whatever, as a human being, as an insan here, and what he does here. And then man after the creation, meaning that after he dies, he goes to Barzakh and hereafter and so on. So it's 3 different levels man could be determined as. Now, the question is that when we compare this to the philosophical argument, we also find that man having these 3 levels within himself. One is the level where it is immaterial, right? Where you see, for example, his aql or his imagination, things which are not material, his feelings, all man have that in him as a human being, as an insan, which is related to the spirit from a religious terminology. We would say that as a spirit, or we'll say that as nafs, for example. Then you have the aspect of the man as he is living in this dunya, physically. His body, the same way from the religious point of view, that man in this dunya. So you have the insan as in this dunya, basically, as a human being. He requires food, he requires, rest, so on and so forth, physically speaking. Then you have his aspect of his nafs, which is the immaterial aspect, which tend to have imaginations, for instance, things that we could imagine or feeling, or the psychology of man, so on and so forth, from a non-religious point of view. Then the higher aspect of man is that his spirit, is that his ruh, which is much higher than his imaginal faculty. He could imagine something, but aql, or his ruh, if you want to call it, that is much higher. That is the highest level of insan. So he's on this three different levels: his physical, his soul, and then the spirit. The spirit tend to be the highest. Now, spirit is a material, or not physical material, a substance, or a reality of it is, from the point of view of God, it is the ruh, it is the spirit. From our point of view, it is the aql, it is the intellect. So one side of the spirit, which is facing towards us, is the aql. The other side of this aql, which is facing towards God, is actually ruh. Right? So aql, or the ruh, is the point where man meets with God. It is through aql and ruh this soul is trained, this soul is inspired, and the body really basically carries the soul. So aql or ruh becomes that. Why? Because when you look at the Mi'raj of the Prophet, Jibreel reached to a point, if we compare Jibreel as the aql Rasul, Jibreel as the intellect of the Prophet. But it reaches to a point, and then after that Jibreel says that I cannot go any more further. Then you have the aspect of the ruh more, where aql reaches to a point, it stops there, and then it goes higher, which is the ruh of Rasul, which is the heart of Rasul, which is basically the divine aspect of Rasulullah. Now, so this is insan, who have these three aspects to him, three realities to him. That is his body, his soul, and then ruh, or if you want to call, aql. Now, this insan, who have these three realities to him, the same way, when compared to other creation that is out there, we find the same three levels of the creation as well. When we say the dunya, the earth, heaven and earth, which we talked about, the physical reality of that, and then you have the level of the malakut, where you have the level of the angelic realm. And then beyond that is the realm of the asma, or the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you will find a pattern of these three reality in the nutshell. Obviously the scholars or the Urafa have divided into different nasut, hahut, and different levels. However, in the nutshell, we could really divide even the creation into these three different levels, and insan into three different levels. First is the level of the creation itself, which we call the mulk, which Allah have created. Just the first heaven, which we are talking about, there are 7 heavens. Just the first heaven is this creation, this physical reality. If this is more refined, if you want to say the higher level of this reality, that is the malakut, the angelic realm, the unseen or the metaphysical sort of realm, right? And then beyond that becomes the jabarut, which is the asma, right? Now, man with these three different levels, who have this aspect to really transcend from this physical to the imaginary, or the soul, or the malakuti, and the highest level, which is the intellect, it becomes that jabaruti, that divine asma and the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have these two models, man, and then you have this model of this creation, mulk, which is the earth, malakut, which is the angelic realm, and which is the jabarut. So he could ascend all of these levels, return back. That's what it says, that inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. As a matter of fact, is this, that we came from Allah and our journey is going back. So now when we are here, with the power of the aql, we will travel back towards God. And this traveling back will only take place in the true sense when a person dies. In the physical sense, yes, we say when a person dies, in Aliyah when Ajran have taken place. But while living, when a person dies, that journey begins there. Because the Prophet have said, Mata, die, anta qabla mut. Die before you die. That meaning that I cut myself from this dunya, from this physical world, and then that journey really begins for a person. There's a beautiful verse of the Quran, in the Quran, which talks about muhajirah, muhajirah, doing hijrah, traveling towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we'll take a look later on, but I want to come back to the argument of this 3 different levels of the creation and insan as well. So now, when a person travels, basically with the power of the aql, he starts to ascend in the realm of the malakut and then higher. Now the other thing that insan have within him is the urge or the desire to really go towards kamal and perfection. Whether that be in the physical sense, whether that be in the spiritual sense. He wants to reach to the heights. He wants to reach to the heights. Allah has placed within him the urge and the spirit, if you want to say, or the soul of inquiring and knowing what is hidden. He would like to know that. Allah has placed within him the aspect of control. He likes to control, he likes to know. And as a matter of fact, knowing, controlling comes from knowing. If you know something, you're controlling it. If you have knowledge of something, then you can control it. Right? And when you have knowledge of something and you control, you feel, basically proud, you feel good, and you would like to go more and more. And the higher you go, the more you will know. And you will have more knowledge. And the higher you go, the higher you will have control. Allah really, when He talks about in the Quran, that reflect upon the ayat, that the signs that are there, and through that you will come to the realization that Allah is the truth, Allah is the haqq. What Deen is talking about, what Quran is talking about is right. But it requires that reflection. Just a simple example. Satellites, navigation, to know where the traffic is, where the traffic is not. What do? They have to go up there. They have to travel towards the heaven in order to have, in order to have knowledge. That's what we are saying. For insan, he has to purify himself, he has to travel towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have that power, to have that control, to have that knowledge of the future. Right? All of the Ma'asumeen alayhi salam, or the awliya or the anbiya, how did they know about the future? Because their soul have traveled and they could see the future. Right? How they could see the future? Because they have traveled up towards the heaven. Because future descends from the heaven. وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ عِندَنَا خَزَائِنٌ, as Allah says in the Quran, that near us are these treasures. And from these treasures, we have revealed بِقَدْرِ مَعْلُومٍ. A set amount have been sent from these treasures. Our reality and our truth are in that treasure. We are linked to that treasure, which is near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From there, it descends. At the time of Sulaiman, jinns used to travel up there towards the heaven, used to find out what is your future, will bring that and will give to basically shayateen or whoever have that sort of power to really tell the future. Right? And the person who is listening to this, person who is whoever, a shaitan or who knows magic, so on and so forth, who tells me about the future, I will become in control of that person. Because he is giving me the knowledge of the ghaib. Where is he getting the knowledge of the ghaib? He is getting the knowledge of the ghaib by traveling towards the heaven. Where do the sat nav get the knowledge of the ghaib, whether the future there's a traffic or not? Because it has traveled towards the heaven. This aspect of human nature, to know the future, is in him. Regardless of whether that be he shoots a satellite up there,
or a jinn goes up there and gets the knowledge. This has always been with man. This has always been. For what reason? Because he likes to control. Now, when I put a destination where I want to go, my journey is controlled by the navigation. Wherever it says me to turn, I'll turn there because there's a traffic light. It's a control, regardless of what. Control as a phenomenon. It could be, it's control at the end of the day, right? The same way, when a person travels towards the heaven, whether that be physical heaven, or as we Muslims will say that spiritually you travel, we will have the knowledge of the ghaib. We will have the knowledge of the future. Why? Because future is revealed from that khazain, from those treasures for that insan. Right? So from the realm of the Jabarut to the Malakut, the angelic realm, and to the Mulk. So now here I am as an insan who have all these three aspects within me. That's what Amirul Mu'minin says, that you think you're just a little, you're just a little being, but you're a microcosm, but this whole macrocosm, this whole reality is within you. We don't really need anyone to go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what the Prophet says, that every person who is born born a Muslim. That's what it means. That we don't require anything. Naturally, man goes towards God. However, he is born in a certain environment, to a certain family, in a certain culture. These things really influence him. But he could break the shackles of this culture and environment, whatnot, to really reach God. Right? Now, as there are these sort of shackles and impediments and restrictions, God sends Anbiya and Awliya. And that's what, in the narration of the seventh Imam, which says that God have given two hujjats, two proofs. One is a hujjat which is within you, that is your aql, that is your intellect, once again aql. And the hujjat which is outside, is the Anbiya and the Imams. So the hujjat that I have in me is my aql, is my intellect, through which I am going towards, by breaking these shackles, towards the Malakut and Jabarut. Now, as I am traveling, my ego might come in. I want to know the future. I want to have that, that power. Even though I may be someone who is very pure, such as that Jewish scholar, Alim Ba'ura, who was knowledgeable, who knew the Ism Azam. People would line up to his house in order that, they get du'as from him. He was mustajabud dawa. Whatever he does dua, Allah will accept, right? He was a scholar. He was very pious. He was very spiritual. Who knew Ism Azam, the secret name, he knew it. You know that secret name. But what did he say? He said, why people go to Musa? He cannot even read Torah properly. He stutters. He had this luknat of Zaban. He couldn't speak. So he cannot read Torah properly, but he is the Prophet and everybody respects him. They should really respect me. Although he has traveled and he knew Ism Azam, he can do wonders. Right? Then he says that, why? Musa is the Prophet. Why people go to him? Then what does he do? On his donkey, he goes towards the mountain to call the curse of God on Musa, so that Musa should be killed and I remain. Now when he is going up the mountain, the donkey is not moving. So he hits the donkey so much, the donkey dies. Ulaika kalhum an'am, as the Quran says. Quran compares man to an animal. And then he said, no, balhum azal. No, he is worse than animal. That means insan can become someone who could travel towards that Jabarut, Malakut, and have that Ism Azam. Even after having that, could make some trouble, unless or until there is hujjat from outside, which are the Anbiya and Awliya, to really rectify him, correct him. Malik Ashtar and Amirul Mu'minin. Malik Ashtar says, if I would have killed one person more, I would have matched with Amirul Mu'minin. Amirul Mu'minin says that when you kill, you don't look at 7 future generations, but when I kill, I look at 7 future generations. That's the difference. How does he see the future generation? Once again, that traveling. How does Imam Hussein know? Once again, that traveling. Right? So if you travel towards, you will know the future. Right? So insan have that capability and possibility to really do that. Allah have placed that in him. right? So therefore, this traveling towards the heaven, whether that be physically speaking, like we don't believe in God, and we want to know the future, okay, just go up in the satellites, you may have some of the understanding of what the future is like, and through which you will have that control. The control will come about by knowing the future. So when we are talking about physical understanding of the future or having control of things is through traveling towards the heaven, obviously the spiritual model will be the same. The physical model is like this, the spiritual model will be the same. When it comes to that spiritual model, we say, no. We don't believe in that. We don't believe in God. We don't want to believe in. But when it comes to the physical model, we say, we exactly do. They say that, just a nail. I couldn't really remember the whole reality of that show. It was talking about, science, about satellites. That even if a little nail comes in between the satellite station and some sort of wave that is coming, it will destroy the satellite station, even if that is just the size of a nail. This show was on a National Geography or Discovery Channel talking about space. Now, when we say that if you have one spot of najasat on your body, your prayers is batil. You say, well, Maulana, what are you talking about? Just one spot, Allah is the one who accepts the prayers. It's just one najis spot, on my, I just don't do wuzu, I just pray to Allah. It doesn't, when it comes to physical things, if just one little thing, if you put the postcode that you want to go to, I don't know, we have NG11 4JX. Instead of X, you put JY. It will take you somewhere else. Oh, it's just one letter. I wanted to go somewhere, but it went somewhere else. Right? It's just one letter. The same way, the physical reality that we have here is very similar to the spiritual reality. 8th Imam Rada alayhi salam mentions that.
Brothers and sisters, if we can we please move up just a little bit?
Yes, please. Salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi. I'm done with the speech now. That's the purpose, to move up a little bit. Right? There was this scholar who was who came, was invited to give a speech. So he went there and he sat, and as we said, it was getting crowded. So they said, everybody get up and move forward a bit. So everybody did that. The Maulana just said, okay, I'm done. It's done. That's what I wanted. Everybody wanted to move forward. Right? Salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi. The 8th Imam says that what we see in this physical world is exactly the same, but on a different form, more on a metaphysical, spiritual form in the spiritual world. Obviously, like what you see, your friends here, when you go to sleep, you have a dream, you'll see him in the same form, same face, you will recognize him. So physically, there's a relationship of this physical forms to the immaterial realities that is out there. There's no difference in that. The physical form is a watered down version of that spiritual reality. Okay? So therefore, what we have in this physical world, that's why Allah Tabai says that, the great exegist of the Quran, he says that I've engaged myself for past 30 years with a world that many people believe that it does not exist. Meaning that the world of the spirits, the world of the souls, or the malakut, that he's engaged with them, and he's living with them. Why Saadat Parwar, which was one of his students, Saadat Pahlawani, he was known as, he used to say that I cannot sleep at nights because I could hear the sounds of the malaika doing tasbih. Right? It's a physical, sort of spiritual world. And these things are right here. It's all connected. It's not like for us to understand, it says a mulk, and then you have malakut, and then you have jabarut. Well, Jabarut is right here, Malakut is right here, Mulk is right here. It is just we have to open our eye. Israel is not like come from somewhere, from the heaven to take this ruh or spirit away. Israel is right here. Imam Sajjad in Saif al-Sajjadiyah, when he's talking about, there's a dua about death, he talks about the reality of death. I have mentioned this earlier as well. Death is a mukashafa. Death is an unveiling of the truth. Of that person who is dying, he sees Israel, which is right there. It's just a curtain is lifted from in front of his eyes and he sees Israel. When he sees Israel, he dies. That's a natural reaction. In that room, there are other people as well. They haven't seen Israel, but the person who is dying, he has seen Israel. So when he sees Israel, he died. That's what death is. So Israel is not that he comes from somewhere. Israel is right here. Allah have not decided that we see him. Allah hasn't unveiled. Right? If Allah unveils our eyes from it, to see Israel, the reaction of seeing Israel is dying. Basically, a person goes to a different state. So this Malakut, Jabarut, Mulk that we're talking about is right here. It's just we have to open our eye. That's why when these awliya, they would see us and they would see our Malakuti form. They would see our spiritual form, our barzakhi form. Are we really a human being or are we really an animal? People would go to our Bahjat and would ask, what type of animal I am, right? We heard those stories, aren't we? So really, we have this physical form, Zahiri form, but at the same time, we have this spiritual form, that form of our nafs, and the aql and the intellect and the spirit is very pure. That's that what afakhtu fi min ruhi, that belongs to God, and it returns back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether that be the ruh of Abu Jahl or whether that be ruh of Muslim ibn Aqil, is the same, is the ruh. However, there's the intensity of this ruh is different. The intensity of the ruh that is with Abu Jahl is very low, and the intensity of the ruh which is with Muslim ibn Aqil is very high. In another explanation to really understand what the spirit is, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that spirit is like the sunlight that comes from outside and it shines to your house through the window, it comes inside. The way sunlight shines come inside your house. Sun is outside, the spirit outside, but you have sunlight inside your house. Depending on the size of the window, how much sun that it could take. Last night also we mentioned that it goes back to the capacity of the heart, that how much the heart have the capacity to really take the rahmah, to really take the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is tawfiq, which really increases. Our coming here, gathering here, it really opens our window of our heart so that it is able to take greater mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by attending these majalis. So therefore ruh is like that. Actually in another hadith, 6 Imam says that there are 5 arwah or 5 ruhs, 5 spirits that is with insan. Anbiya and awliya have the 5th one which they have is Ruh al-Qudus, which is very special. The mu'mineen, they have Ruh al-Iman. But when they commit a sin, this Ruh al-Iman leaves them. They will have Ruh al-Shahwat and Ruh al-Quwwat. These are the different types of spirit that an insan have with him all the time. A mu'min have that Ruh al-Iman with him. But when he commits a sin, this Ruh al-Iman is gone. Well, he will have the strength. He will have the Ruh al-Quwwah. He will have the Ruh al-Shahwa. Ruh al-Iman is gone. Ruh al-Qudus is very peculiar and special to the Imams and Masumeen and because they have that capacity to really contain that Ruh al-Qudus. It's like sun shines on a small hut. Sun shine on the Pacific Ocean as well. So what the Pacific Ocean is containing is much greater spirit compared to that small hut, right? So the Ruh of the Masumi, the Ruh of Imam Hussain is vast and huge, which is able to contain that. It's like that Pacific Ocean. So anyways, help me with the Salawat ala Muhammad wa alihi. Now therefore this insan who have these 3 aspects to him. The aspect of his body, the aspect of his ruh, the aspect of his soul, and the aspect of his aql, an intellect which is pure. Now, when we compare this model to the regular understanding, if a person who does not believe in these three, there is no such thing as ruh, there is no such thing as a soul, but he just believes in that physical body, then we would change these names, these terminologies, and we'll call them as his physical body. And then he has this imagination, that power of imagination, he could imagine. And then at the same time, he has the power of rationalizing things, intellect, which he would say, aql, which he would say. But we are not really calling the aql from an Islamic point of view as intellect. Aql is something else. In the narration of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, I would want to read you that. It says that, which I mentioned last night. قال الرجل له عليه السلام ما العقل. A person asks Imam Sadiq, what is aql? Yeah. قال, Imam said, ما عبد به الرحمن واكتسب به الجنان. Aql is something by which man worships God and through which he acquires Jannah. So that means that aql, the definition of aql is that the aql should give me Jannah, the aql should give me and make me worship Allah. But at the same time, you have many intellectual people, intellectual as we say in the West, who are intelligent, who have knowledge, who are scientists, but they don't really worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what are you saying, Imam Sadiq? You're saying aql is by which man worships God, by which man acquires Jannah. So those people who we call them intellectual, who have aql, they are non-believers. Can we really call them intellectual? Well, from Imam Sadiq's point of view, from a religious point of view, actually not. Then he says that, فَالَّذِي كَانَ فِي الْمَاوِيَةِ. He says, what about, which was in Mawiyah, as we said. Mawiyah was considered to be very intellectual, right? Very intelligent, one of the best philosophers. Something that those who are maybe studying Islamic studies or philosophy, they could really look into how powerful Mawiyah was in terms of his intellect as a ruler and as a leader. It's a very important, it could be a very important research. فَقَالَتْ تِلْكَ النَّكَرَةِ. Imam says that this was not aql, but it was nakara. Nakara tilka shaytaniya. This is actually something satanic. It was not aql, it was nakara. Now obviously now we fall short in terms of translation. We will just say aql or mind or intellect or rational, by which a person basically plans, a person behaves that way, what is good for the state, what is not good for the state, that person is known as intellectual person, right? But Imam is saying that no, actually that is nakara. That is actually tilka shaytaniya wahiya shabih bil aql. It is shabih. It is similar to aql, but it is not aql. That is not considered as aql. That is not considered intellect. Aql is something pure. Like I said, aql, this side is aql for us, insan. But the other side of that aql is ruh, is the spirit. So aql is a pure material, is a pure reality which is outside, which is not with us. It's like that ruh. Allah never said that He gave human beings aql. He said we give him some basar, we gave him eyes, we gave him ears, and we gave him the heart by which he decides. It's actually the heart. قلب له قلوب لا يفقهون بها ولهم سمع لا يسمعون بها ولهم عيون لا يبصرون. In one of the verses it says they have heart, but they have eyes, but they do not see. But they have eyes, they are seeing. But what God really means is that they have eyes. They are seeing that it is Hussein. They are hearing that Hussein is saying, I am the son of Fatima. They are hearing that. They have heart, they know that this is, don't you know, Imam Hussein is asking, don't you know that I am the grandson of the Prophet? They say, yes, we know. But do they really know? If they really know, they will not do what they are doing. If they are really seeing, they will not do what they are doing to Imam Hussein. If they are really hearing, they will not do, right? So this aql, this intellect, which Muawiyah have, or which these people, we call them as intellectual and intelligent, yes, they have that, which is something very similar, shabi, to the aql, but actually that's not aql. Aql is something that will take us towards ma'ubida bil rahman. It will make us worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is aql. That is something that we really have to, basically investigate and have in us and try to really get in contact with that aql. And then through that, we will be able to really go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now, tonight, being a night which we will discuss a bit about the journey of Imam Hussein, and then we will try to relate our topic, which is aql, and then eventually we want to look at ishq, because always there's a love. There's always, in many poetries of Rumi and Hafiz, you would see that when ishq comes, aql goes away. It just can't go any more further. That's why, Majnoon is Majnoon. Although he may be aqil, but he's known as Majnoon. That people say he's Junoon. What is he doing, right? So what is that? What is that ishq? What is that? We'll, inshallah, in the future nights to come. But I just wanted to look at historical aspect of the traveling of Imam Hussein alayhi salam from Makkah to Karbala, and how it happened and what happened and how many stages this journey was. And while mentioning the historical aspect of the journey of Imam Hussein, we will also try to point out to his intellectual speeches or some of his statements that took place, so that we could understand that, what is the place of aql and ishq in the plain of Karbala, right? So now there are about 25 stops from Makkah to Kufa. It is about 1,031 miles. If one wants to look at the journey of Imam Hussein from Makkah to Kufa, it's about 1,000 odd miles. And he stopped in 25 places. And there are different, they were not cities obviously, small towns and places where he stopped and he met people there. Now, one of the things that we find that whenever Imam Hussein alayhi salam was meeting people, or his speeches or sermons, where basically he was trying to gather the news from Kufa, because Kufans have returned to Imam Hussein. He was wanted to know what's happening in Kufa, whoever he's meeting with. He would mention to people about the fasad, about the corruption of Bani Umayyah. Very openly he will mention that. In Makkah he will mention that. In other places, whoever he says will mention the fasad of the corruption of Bani Umayyah. Then he would invite people for qiyam, for the revolt, for the uprising. He would say, join me. That's what he's doing, right? He would answer religious questions, whether that be in Makkah or all the journey that he has done. He would answer. He would clarify his revolt. What is his purpose of his revolt? He will not just invite them, but he will tell him, in order that the Sunnah have died, because the time have become that. The time was similar to Jahiliyyah, how it was at the time of the Prophet. That's how Muslims have become at that time. That they have completely forgotten the Sunnah of Rasulullah. Imagine that. That within, 50 years they have completely forgotten the Sunnah of Rasulullah. And now Imam Hussein is saying, my qiyam, my uprising is that to revive the Sunnah of Rasulullah. Husainu minni wa ana min Hussein. That's why my qiyam is for. The Rasul have come to give kamal to the aql, to the intellect. Rasul have come, the Prophet have come with a message of Tawheed, with a message of God, which was the most highest level of Tawheed, was brought by Rasulullah, that is possible for an insan to really understand the different levels of Tawheed through the Quran by Rasulullah, and that the people have forgotten that. So Imam Hussein alayhi salam will clarify his revolt. He will ask them to be far away on the day of Ashura, so that my voice doesn't reach you. If you don't want to join me, don't be close to Karbala, because if you listen to my voice and you don't join me, you will be in trouble. So he would say these 6 things. You would find his speeches and his statements revolving around these 6 things. As he will try to gather the news of Kufa, he will mention the fasad of Bani Umayyah, He would invite people for the uprising and the revolt. He would answer religious questions. He will clarify what is the reason for his revolt. And finally, he would say that, if you don't want to join me, don't be near Karbala. Don't be near where I am when that battle will take place. So there are about 25 stops from Mecca to Kufa. Now, I would mention a few which are very important. Some have done research. They have talked about there are about 13 very important stops or stations where Imam Hussein stopped. But I will mention only a few of them which are considered to be very important of them. Number one, the first stop is known as Zurud, which is still in Saudi Arabia, which is still right after Mecca. Is the name of the place is known as Zurud. The reason for this stop to be known as, and Imam Hussein will stop maybe for a night or a 2 night or for a few hours to gather water, so on and so forth, and then move on. He's going towards Kufa. He has left Mecca and now he's going towards Kufa. In Zurud, the unique thing that happened was that he met with Zuhair ibn Qayn. Zuhair was a person who was traveling from Kufa to Mecca. He did Hajj, and now he's returning back to Kufa. Now, as he was returning back to Kufa, Imam Hussein is going towards Kufa as well. Many a times, the historians have mentioned that when Imam Hussein will stop, quickly Zuhair will leave, because Zuhair does not want to see Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and Imam Hussein wants to see Zuhair. So in Zurud, they stop together. As soon as they stop, there are two narrations. One is that Imam Hussein sent someone to the tent of Zuhair, and then in another narration it says that Imam Hussein himself came to Zuhair. Now, either both could be true. Imam Hussein could have sent someone to Zuhair, and then after that Imam Hussein came. And then when Imam Hussein came and invited him in the most beautiful way, the way Imam Hussein invited them was amazing. It says Imam, obviously, right? In the most eloquent way. And the wives of Zuhair said, "What has happened to you, Zuhair? He's the grandson of the Prophet and he's calling you." Then Zuhair accepted it. He had no choice. As they say that he was a Sunni, he was an Usmani Maslak. However, he accepted the call of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And then Zuhair said, "I will divorce you to the wife, you go." I said, "What are you talking about? This is Jannah, this is paradise, how can I? I want to join." The women and children were there of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So that happened in Zurud. Then the 14th manzil, or the 14th stage or station before the 25th, which is Karbala, is Thalibiyah. Thalibiyah was a place where he meets Farazdak. The poet, the shair, who came from, was coming from Kufa. When he was coming from Kufa in Thalibiyah, there's a discussion or a talk that goes between Farazdak and also Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because Imam Hussein alayhi salam wants to inquire what's happening in Kufa. Some report says that Farazdak also informed Imam Hussein alayhi salam about the martyrdom of Muslim ibn Aqil. Now here it goes. He says Farazdak says, "لو لم أجل لا أخذت." Why did you leave Makkah so early, O Imam? Imam Hussein, Farazdak asked him. He said, if I wouldn't have left early, they would have arrested me in Makkah. So this means that they were already planning to ambush Imam Hussein, kill Imam Hussein, arrest Imam Hussein alayhi salam, right? So he leaves Makkah, and in other sayings we find that death to me is better than the sanctuary of the Makkah be spoiled, be destroyed. If they kill me, it's better, so I better be far away from the holy place, from the sanctuary of Makkah. I would rather die this way. That's why I don't want to be in Hajj. I'm leaving. He says, "Akhbirni an nas khalfaka." Give me news about the people that you have left behind in Kufa. Imam Hussein is inquiring from Farazdak. Al-Khabir sa'altak. You have asked Khabir, a person who have knowledge, who have news. You have asked that person. Qulubun nas ma'ak wa asya fahum alayk. The qulub of the people is with you, O Imam, but their swords are against you. This is Farazdak mentioning in regards to how people are in Kufa. Then he says, وَالْقَضَاءُ يَنْزِلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَاللَّهُ يَفْعَلُ مَا يُرِيد. That's how he replied. Now, in response to this, Imam Hussein replies in this way. Look how intellectually and how loving to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala his response is, because we want to see the intellectual aspects as well. He says, Imam Hussein alayhi salam replies, Sadaqta. What you have said is right. Lillahi al-amru min qablu wa min ba'du. Amr belongs to Allah min qabl, meaning that their hearts are with you. That is because of Allah. Wa ba'du, if their swords are also against me, that is also because of Allah. This is the vision of Imam Hussein. That la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no qudra, there is no power, but the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether this is a very powerful vision to have that. This is the very vision where ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I saw nothing but beauty, nothing but beauty. So someone who have that understanding of Tawheed, of seeing that whether the swords are with me, it's amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's by the command of Allah. Their hearts with me, command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then وَكُلُّ يَوْمٍ رَبُّنَا هُوَ فِي شَانٍ. As you're saying that the qada have to nuzul, the qada have to come. The qada meaning if we translate as death, or if we translate that your destiny, whatever it has to come. He says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَكُلَّ يَوْمٍ رَبُّنَا هُوَ فِي شَانٍ. The shan belongs to Allah. And that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatsoever is going to happen, it is by His shan, it is by His power. Then he says, إِن نَزَلَ الْقَدَاءُ بِمَا نُحِبُّ فَنَحْمَدُ اللَّهِ. If the qada that is supposed to come, if it is what we love, nuhibbu, alhamdulillah, it's very good, alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this aspect is very unique and special. He says, alhamdulillah, فَنَحْمَدُ اللَّهِ عَلَى نِعْمَائِ. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ni'mat that Allah have given, and then وَهُوَ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى آدَاءِ الشُّكْرِ. And then we take help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to do the shukr. It's a very important point. That means we cannot thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without His help to thank Him. We are nothing, we are unable to do the shukr of Allah, what Allah have given Him. Imam Hussein is saying that, وَهُوَ الْمُسْتَعَانِ. The help is from Allah, and Allah, for what? For ada of shukr of Allah. We are not able to thank what so many things Allah have given us. This our gathering here of Imam Hussein, this love of Imam Hussein that has been placed in our heart. We should be thankful of, but we cannot really thank him unless we have the help from him to thank him. So he's saying that we have to take help from Allah. In dua of Sayyid Sajjadi as well, in dua of the parents, we recite, last night I was mentioning that, when we recite the dua, Allahumma kulli waliyaka al-hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala abai fi hadhihi as-sa'a, in this hour, wa fi kulli sa'a, we say that I should remember Imam Zaman. This fi kulli sa'a is just like in general, but in reality I should be remembering Imam Zaman every hour. It should not be in general. When they ask you, oh Maulana or brother, please do dua for me. Oh yes, I will do dua for me. Not in all mu'minina, please take my name and do dua, particular. So it's not fi kulli sa means that every sa, yes, every sa belongs to Imam, but in reality I should be remembering Imam Zaman in every hour. In the Sahih Sajjadi of the du'as of the parents, it says that, Imam is asking, oh Allah, make me remember my parents every hour, that I should remember him. Du'as are teaching us a methodology how to live. Du'as are not just du'as that we do dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but through dua we should learn the method of living. Through dua we should learn the method of living. So in this dua of Imam Sajjad, every hour, make me remember. And in this dua of Sayyid Sajjad, oh Allah, give me the strength to thank my parents. I am unable to thank them. It is not possible that I could ever thank them. The story of Moses, who I will be raised with that butcher. That Ulul Azm prophet, a prophet who is an Imam, who is an Ulul Azm, will be raised by a butcher. His level will be same in the hereafter with the butcher. Why with that butcher? Because that butcher takes care of the mother. right? So in this dua he says, oh Allah, give me the help and strength from you in order that I am able to thank them, and still I will unable to thank them, the dua says, in regards to the parents. So here Imam Hussein is reflecting the same thing. He's saying that, oh Allah, give me the power, strength, Allahul Musta'an, to really that I thank you, you know. Then what in hal al qada duna raja, and if this qada which is for me, he's speaking to Farazdak, you know, in the place of Thalabiyah. If this qada is other than that a person likes, raja, falam yab'ud man kana al-haq. He is not, and he will not fall far from haq, because of haqqun niyah, because he has the truthful niyah of nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what taqwa siratahu. And if his seerah, if the way he lives is taqwa, then it doesn't really matter whether that qaza be in his favor, whether that qaza be is not in his favor. It doesn't really matter. That's how Imam Hussein alayhi salam is looking at. Now he also meets a person called Abahar Azdi, who praises Bani Umayyah. In return, Imam Hussein alayhi salam says that if you were in Medina, I would show you the place where Jibrail's feet used to be. And basically he talks about Bani Hashim. Basically he talks about his family, about Rasulullah, and who Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This man is praising Bani Umayyah, and in return Imam Hussein is saying that I will show you the place where, you know, Jibrail used to descend in our house. Then meeting with Wahab also takes place in Salibiyah. Meeting with Wahab is very, very important. Who was a Christian. He goes meet, Wahab was not there, mother was there. And then he goes and asks the mother, how is the place? He says, everything is good, but we don't have water. Then Imam Hussein digs a well for her. And then he leaves. Wahab comes back and he says that, I see there's a difference, there's something else, something has happened. Who came? He was well been prepared and ready and digged. He says, somebody came. How does he look like? She says, he looked like Isa Masih. He looked like Christ. Because she has this understanding of Christ in her mind, in terms of her taqwa. And he sees a man who is envisaging, you know, in his akhlaq, the way he looks, the way he speaks, the way he's kind, as Masih for her. It was like Masih. What did he say? He says he's the grandson of the Prophet and he's on a mission and he's asked us to join. Wahab said, let's go. Wahab joined Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This happened in Salibiyah, right? And then here was the place where Imam Hussein had a dream when he dozed off on the back of the mount, saying that I see in a dream that somebody told me that the caravan is going and death is behind this caravan. And then he mentions to Hazrat Ali Akbar this dream. He recites Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and Hazrat Ali Akbar inquires that what happened? Why are you reciting this kalima istirja? Because whenever a musibat comes, a person recites that Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So Imam Hussein says that I had this dream. This was in Salibiyah. And he says, then Imam Hazrat Ali Akbar says, what difference does that make? Whether death comes to us or we go to us, haq. Then the 15th place before 25th, which is called, was Zubala. Zubala, Imam Hussein spent a night, and the event was that the more detail of the shahadat of Hazrat Muslim and Hani came to him in Zubala. Then after that, he went to Bath al-Aqba. In Bath al-Aqba, he spent a very small amount of time, and here Imam Hussein alayhi salam picked up, asked his people to gather lots of water. Now he's also, and why is he saying that? Because he's about to meet Hur with 1,000 men. So he said, take a lot of water now. He knows what's happening. Because he knows that when Hur will come with his 1,000 men, they will be thirsty. And in the next manzil, in the next stage, he meets Hur. Hur stops him, and when Hur joins, they were thirsty. Imam Hussein, the ashab of Imam Hussein gave water to them. And the time of Zuhr comes, you know, Imam Hussein asked Hajjaj ibn Masruf al-Ju'ufi to give azan. He gives azan. Imam Hussein was leading the prayer. Hur also joins Imam Hussein to pray. So they met in the next manzil, which was called Sharaf, or Ya Ashraf, that place was called, which is basically, they have entered Iraq now. Now in this place there's a discussion between Hur and Imam Hussein alayhi salam, which we don't really have time to discuss the intellectual aspect of it. I'm just pointing out to the historical aspect because we want to reach to Karbala. So here, Hur and Imam Hussein, very basic thing that we say, that we can point out to here was that Hur said, you can't go to Kufa. Imam Hussein said, I have letters from Kufa. Imam Hussein gave a khutbah there. His followers, there were 1,000, they also listened to the khutbah of Imam Hussein, to the sermon of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And then Hur said, I can't let you go because I've been given the task to stop you from going to Kufa, from Umar Sa'ad, from Ibn Ziyad, I'm sorry, the governor of Kufa, and I will wait till my men come with a new message what to do in regards to you, because I am unaware that you've been invited by the Kufans. My task is to stop you, that's what they have told me, but now you are giving me this news that you've been invited by the Kufans. I have to wait till what Ibn Ziyad tells me. So he sent a messenger to Ibn Ziyad and he says, I'm not allowing you to go. Then here Imam Hussein got enraged and he said, may your mother cry on you, O Hur. Then Hur says that if I knew who your mother was, I would have said the same thing. If I did not know who your mother was, I would have said the same thing what you have told me. There's a very important secret behind this discussion. Why Imam Hussein is speaking in this tone? Imam Hussein actually wants to remind Hur who is the mother of Imam Hussein. For some people, Imam Hussein said, I am the son of Fatima. For some people, Imam Hussein just shake them so that they feel reminded that who is the mother of Imam Hussein. And this is what brought Hur to Imam Hussein. That because he has the understanding and ma'rifat of who Hussein is. Because he has those eyes, he has those ears, he is listening. As we said, they have ears, right? This man have the ears. He could listen and understand, he has that heart to know who Fatima is. So here, finally, it happened that these two armies marched together and Imam Hussein alayhi salam was pushed to the 25th place. However, there are a couple of others which I'm kind of bypassing, and they were very important as well in regards to the sermon that Imam Hussein have delivered, where he meets Ubaidullah ibn Hur al-Jawfi, who says, take my horse, take my sword, I don't want to be with you. He meets him in the place called Qasr Bani Maqatil, which is just before Karbala. And Imam Hussein says that I don't want your horse, I don't want your sword, I want you, Ubaidullah. But Ubaidullah ibn Hur says that no, I can't join you. Then Imam Hussein said, go far away from here so that you don't hear my call when I call you on the day of Ashura. Right? That happens in Qasr Bani Maqatil. And finally, which was the 23rd manzil from Mecca, the 25th was Karbala. And here there are about 16 names to this place of Karbala, given in the books of history, what it is called, and the meaning of Karbala. And here Imam Hussein smells the earth of Karbala and he says, this is the place where we're going to come down. From the 2nd of Muharram, which is tonight, till 10 days, till Ashura, till 8 days, basically. He reached 2nd of Muharram in Karbala. It was a Thursday night. And he dies on a Friday. He is Shaheed on Friday. So he enters on Thursday night. From Thursday night to the Thursday night, which was the Shab-e Ashura. Right? So here, when he enters Karbala, he says, 7 horses were brought. The horse was not moving. Imam Hussein was changing horse to horse. And eventually, the final one, he says, what is this place? He says, Amura. He says, is there any other name of this place? He says, they say it's Karbala. And he says, Allahumma inni a'udu bik min karb wa bala. This is it. And here, Imam Hussein said, this is where we are stopping now. And even here, you see, Imam have to accomplish the hujjah, finish the whole argument. There is no any escape left from the person. He says that, why are you stopping me here in this place? Because this place have no water. This place is very, deserted. This place is very tough. Allow me to go to a place which was called Gharede, which was a bit further away. He says, no, I'm stopping you here. This is the letter that I received from Ubaidullah, that if you find Hussein, then basically finish it. Right? So here, Imam Hussein in Karbala gets down and he camps. And it was here that they say that every night people used to hear the sound of a lady crying. They used to say, what is this woman crying at night in Karbala? From second till the day, 9th night it comes. On the 9th night, Imam Hussain alayhi salam just went to look at the land of Karbala, to really plan for the battle next day, to really see that is there any ditches or any trench where the enemies could ambush Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And when Imam Hussain alayhi salam came out to look at the land on the 9th night, Burair followed Imam so that he could protect Imam Hussain alayhi salam, so that nobody attacks him at night and kill him. And then all of a sudden Burair, when Imam Hussain looks in back, somebody was following him. He said, oh Burair, it is you. He said, yes, O Imam, I came here to protect you. He said, then Imam Hussain alayhi salam took him and pointed out to him where Abbas will fall. Imam Hussain alayhi salam took him and pointed out where Ali Akbar will fall, where where Qasim will fall. Every spot that the soldier, the supporter of Imam Hussain will fall, Burair took him. Finally, Burair with Imam Hussain goes to a place where he sees a land very clean. There wasn't any sort of rocks or anything, very clean. Then Burair asks, this place looks very clean. Imam Hussain stopped there. He says that, who is this place? He says, this is the place where I will fall. Then Burair says, why it is different? He says, Fatima have taken. Fatima have cleaned this place. Oh, Burair, can you listen to this cry at night? There's a lady who cries every night. Who's this crying? This is Fatima, who have come to us with Karbala. She came on the 2nd of Muharram with us, and she's with us, and every night she cries for Hussein. She probably may be saying that, oh Hussein, I have risen you, I have brought you up with such a difficulty, with so much pain, and here you are. And it was that very time and that very moment that when Fatima was leaving this dunya, as they say that when Amir al-Mu'minin shrouded Fatima and laid the body of Fatima and asked the children to come and part farewell to Fatima, everyone came except Hussein. Amir al-Mu'minin says, oh Hussein, don't you want to part farewell to your mother? Hussein says that until my mother calls me, I'm not going to go. And here Ali says that, Wallah, by God, the knots of the kafan was open and Fatima raised the arms and he says, oh Hussein, come to me. And Hussein and Fatima spoke to each other. And as Hussein says, oh mother, you have called me now, there will be a day that I will call you. On the day of Ashura, when Hussein was on the ground for 3 hours in the bloodbath, Hussein was saying something. The enemy said, look what Hussein is saying. When they came near to Hussein, Hussein was saying, oh mother, come to me. It is that hour. And Fatima arrives. Hussein.
When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When the night fell on the desert camping, a lonely voice was heard in morning. Then she looked and saw someone approaching, one who would join her in her grieving. She had to come to see her progeny and what had become of their destiny. But she could not lure her too closer. She did not want her to really see. I do not want you to go further. You will only see pain and horror, oh mother. I do not want you to go further. You will only see pain and horror. Body with no head, 72 dead. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Body with no head, 72 dead. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Before you were born, my loving daughter, I was shown this by your grandfather. He told me what was to be for my son and how he would be a tragedy. My brother told me of this day as well. I knew was what was to become of me. But even then I could not stand witness when I saw Shimmer walking to him. My mother, you cannot bear to see what they did to his broken body. My mother, you cannot bear to see what they did to his broken body. Arrow in his heart, liver ripped apart. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Arrow in his heart, liver ripped apart. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, they killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Oh mother, when he stood and addressed the people who had now turned on him, he cried and shed the bitterest of tears. I never saw nothing from him. My brother, you define what is brave. How can I stand to see you crying? My brother, you define. My brother, you define what is brave. How can sad to see you cry. I cry not for what shall happen to us, but that cause of their doom is deep. Even in this final moment, we could only think of their torment. Even in this final moment, we could only think of their torment. How could they kill him? He came to help them. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. How could they kill him? He came to help them. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, you've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, you've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. And then her mother's eyes began to wander, another body she had to see. Then her mother's eyes began to wonder, another body she had to see. A new grave had been dug in the morning, a young infant in there was buried. Where lay the young